Happy Aloha Friday, everybody. It's ESPN Fan Friday Talk Story, and our guest today from the beach volleyball team. Now, some of you may have heard it as beach volleyball at first, and it switched to sand volleyball. Now it's no one likes sand volleyball, so it went back to beach volleyball. But Kaylee Glagau is joining us here today, a sophomore on the team. They just had a terrific tournament over this past weekend, and I believe, Kaylee, you're playing on we're going to find out more about beach volleyball, how it's all set up. But Kaylee, first of all, thanks for taking the time to be a part of this.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
Now, I just mentioned about you guys had a tournament this past weekend, and your team at the University of Hawaii came in second to UCLA. They're one of the top, as you guys are, one of the top programs in the nation. So overall, how did the tournament go for you guys?
Honestly, I think it went pretty good. I was very happy that we beat Stanford. Like, while maybe me and my partner, the good thing about beach volleyball, it could also be a bad thing, is that even if you and your team, like you and your partner, lose, your team can still win the duel. So I was really happy that our team as a whole beat Stanford and we were able to make it to the finals. And then beating St. Mary's in a 5-0 sweep was really nice. And just really like getting all those like first tournament nerves out, and it was good because I think it's helped us. Put us in a good like starting position for our season to come.
Now, for those of us, and I've not actually gone to a match, and those who haven't watched a beach volleyball match, can you give me an idea of how it's kind of organized? So I think if I got this, obviously there's pairs, so you and a partner. And I think, is there 4 or 5 pairs for the University of Hawaii, and you match up against another 5 pairs from another team?
Yeah, so basically most people travel with 12 girls, and then 10 usually all 12 play, but only 10 actually count for points. So you'll have 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, and 5 seed, and then 6s play exhibition. And then other teams will have that too. So you match up, 1s play 1s, 2s plays 2s, 3s plays 3s, so on. And you have to have like your best team at 1s, your second best team at 2s, third best team at 3s, so on. So that when you play, you kind of see where your school actually matches up. And then you have to win 3 out of the 5 of those games to win the duel. So you could win 3-2, 4-1, 5-0, and that's a win for your team. And then because at Queens we don't have all 5 courts, we have 4 courts. So we'll have the first flight is 2, 4, 6, and then once that game's over, 1, 3, 5, and then a warm-up court.
Got it. And then so when you say a match, so like Hawaii versus UCLA, you play the 5 matchups, right?
Yeah.
Whoever wins best of 5 wins the duel.
So you'll play a match, which is best 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Which is kind of confusing, but you play best 2 out of 3. So if you win the first 2 sets, that's like 1 point for your team, individual, like you and your partner wise, and then you have to win 3 out of 5. Yeah.
And if I was reading how the tournament went on, like you have, like the day is pretty long. You don't just challenge Stanford, for example, that's done and that's it. You wait, and then you'll play, like in this case there was a round robin tournament, you play another team and then maybe a third one in a day. Isn't that how it kind of goes? Yeah,
usually, just because also being in Hawaii, it's harder to travel and like just play random games. We usually don't just have duels, we'll make it tournaments because we have to make the best out of our travel. So whether teams are coming here, we go there. So, on Friday we played 2 games, St. Mary's and Stanford. And then Saturday we played UCLA, 3 games. We played 3 games. UCLA first, Stanford again for playoffs, and then UCLA again for finals. So that was a long day. And then after already playing 2 games the day before, and then like when we were playing UCLA the second time, already having 4 games like in the past 2 days, was a lot. And on Queens Beach, which if you've ever been there, you know the sand is not shallow. It's quite deep. And the sun and just the conditions, beautiful Mother Nature. But it's good. It's like, I mean, that's why you play, you know. You
Mhm.
don't play because it's easy. You play because it's tough and it's fun.
And we'll get into all of the stuff, how much tougher you guys are compared to indoor volleyball players. But I did want to get to the fact that you are from Canada. Now, I'm going to mispronounce your hometown. Can you tell me your hometown?
It's called Mississauga. Yeah. Usually I just tell people I'm from Toronto though, because no one knows where Mississauga is. Because it's right outside, like it's right outside Toronto. So 30 minutes ish. And yeah, that's where I call home, little suburb.
Nice, nice. Now, how big or how popular is volleyball, just regular indoor volleyball, and then beach volleyball?
I'd say it's a pretty popular sport. I mean, obviously I never grew up in like California or like anywhere in the States, so I wouldn't really know that comparison. But I'd say it's a pretty decent sport, pretty decently sized sport, like for provincials, which we have provinces, y'all have states, but so like state championships or whatever, like there'd be a lot of teams and a lot of divisions, which is really fun and just you have a lot of support because I mean everyone's really nice. I think everyone that I've met in volleyball is usually pretty nice. So you have like a nice little family and like good connections. And then beach volleyball is a little bit smaller just because you can't play it all year round unless you want to play snow volleyball, which
Ooh.
isn't really my thing. But we have like one or two indoor facilities, but because there's so few of them, they cost a lot of money to like
Mm.
rent them out and stuff. So usually most people play, like I've played indoor volleyball since I was 11 on a team up until I was 18, and then only played beach in the summers.
Mm.
So I did that because I really wanted to get like the competition aspect. And I
Mhm.
knew that if I played beach, it would be way harder. If I played beach all year round, it would be way harder to get good competition. And just like I'm a kid, you know, having to
Mhm. Mhm.
travel like every weekend to go to California. It's not the easiest. And then there are like many of the skills are very transferable. So, but back to your question, I think that it's pretty big and it's a lot of fun. The competition and like the actual level of play may not be as strong. That's why lots of Canadians, if they want to go to the next level and really like exceed or like meet their standards for volleyball, I guess they would go to the NCAA. So as a kid, that was always my goal to go to the NCAA and play on a Division One. At first, it was indoor team, and then I started to fall in love with beach, and then it was play for a Division One NCAA beach volleyball team.
Oh, congratulations, because you're with a program now that's one of the top programs in the country. So, I mean, that's not only a change in terms of the talent level that maybe you had seen prior, but also location and geography. And, that's always a thing. One thing I like to ask student athletes who are from different countries is, and it's funny with Canadians, right? It's our closest, at least for the continental United States, just north of the border kind of thing. But
Yeah.
what are some of the misconceptions that people have about citizens from Canada that you have heard that you say, no, that's not correct, or no, that's not what we do? Anything like that?
I think one thing that I've been asked a couple times is like, do you guys have beaches? Especially playing beach volleyball, they're like, how did you get started in that? Like, do you guys even have beaches? And the answer is yes, we do have beaches. Maybe they're definitely not as nice as here, but we do have them, and that's where lots of the training happens. We also do have summer, and it does get really hot in Toronto or Mississauga. So it's not always freezing, and it's not always snowing. I don't live in an igloo, and
Do people
it's
actually ask you that?
yeah. I mean, maybe it's a joke. Hopefully,
Yeah, yeah.
they didn't really clarify. I just took it as a joke, gave them the benefit of the doubt. But overall, one reason why I did choose to go to Hawaii was because the people here are so kind and so nice, which remind me of back home. So I like that aspect. So everyone's been really friendly and supportive.
now on the flip side, when you went back home after your first year, you're a sophomore, so after last year maybe, one of the things Hawaii people always get asked of sometimes is, "Oh, are there grass huts?" Kind of connects with, "Do you live in an igloo?" Did anybody, when you went back to your hometown, kind of ask you these questions? They never been to Hawaii before. That you're like,
Yeah.
"No, that's not how it is." Anything like that?
Not particularly. I think most people like, I mean, they see it, I think lots of the world sees Hawaii as like tropical paradise and stuff, and like, oh my God, it's so beautiful, but they don't see lots of the other harsh realities, maybe.
Hmm.
Um, but I think, yeah, there's not really like grass huts and stuff.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
but I
good to
have,
know.
yeah, it is good. I will say I've learned so much about Hawaiian culture and like just being on the island and the harsh realities of like the history and like stuff like that, which is good because I'm able to go back home and share that with the people,
Hmm.
with my friends and family back home, and inform them about what's going on here and what's happened, and so that's good, I guess.
Oh, that's good to know. Good to know. Now, I was looking at your bio. Now, in high school, you also played basketball. I read that. So, is this one of those things where your first love was always volleyball and you played basketball as an off season? Or sometimes I hear actually they like the other sport better, but it just happened they were better in the one they went to college with. How about for you?
Yeah, funny story you bring that up, actually, because when I was really young, well, my mom played basketball throughout her whole life, and went to university for it. And then, so she put me in basketball, and like I am tall, so makes sense. They put me in, I was on like an all guys team. I was the tallest person there. However, I didn't know how to dribble a basketball. So that was a slight issue, kind of important in the game
Oh,
basketball.
slight one, yeah.
And the coach would get really upset at me. And I was like, just really wasn't feeling it. And he was also not the nicest person. And then I couldn't even, like, obviously, if I can't dribble one basketball, I'm not going to be able to dribble two.
Hmm.
So that was another issue. And he got upset with me. And then I was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. And then I quit and then, or just stopped like playing the next season. And then I was just doing all the house league stuff for volleyball, and then decided, and then one of the coaches was like, you should try it for our like club team. And I was like, okay, whatever, tried out, made it. And then played that all throughout growing up and stuff. And then in high school, well, in middle school too, played basketball. But I think that's another difference. Like sports in high school in Canada and sports in high school in America are different. Like people will be like, "Oh, what's your stats for like volleyball?" Like in high school, I'm like, "Why are you asking me that? Like it doesn't really matter." Like we never, that wasn't something that we like based our success
Mm-hmm.
off of, I guess, because the competition wasn't as good. Like, yeah, I was the top scorer for my school basketball team, but mostly because all the other people were like a foot shorter than me, and I had like some athletic ability. So
Right.
that, I guess, is funny that you bring that up. Just because
Oh,
not, I'm not. Don't give me a basketball because volleyball is where it's at. I don't have the same skills in basketball as doing volleyball.
oh, well, you definitely excelled in volleyball and now in beach volleyball. And I know for a fact that beach volleyball, I mean, although it's the same quote unquote sport, to play it, I mean, you can't just do one from the other just because of the sand element, the strength, and the jumping is the timing with the ball is so much more difficult. But what would you tell an indoor player that wants to play into the beach level or beach volleyball? Like, what are the biggest things you got to be prepared for?
I'd say the conditions are definitely something that you can't even really train for, I guess, like unless you actually do it. So like the sun, for example, just like the amount of energy and like stuff it takes out of you, it's not something that indoor players are used to at all because they play inside. Why would you? And then like just knowing the wind, I guess the wind is also a huge factor. Like, and you can't practice that inside. And then I guess the another like a main difference is that indoor girls, like, you have a setter, right? The setter only sets. She only does one skill mostly and serves and
Mhm.
defense, but she never hits usually. And then like a hitter wouldn't set normally. A libero wouldn't hit. So like you have all these skills that are individually placed on a court, and then beach you kind of have to be able to do all of them. And the players that do all of those skills like better or the best are the better players. I guess another thing, I coach indoor volleyball sometimes. So just seeing some of the girls, like the way they just like lift the ball, I guess, or like hold the ball. Kind of get a little technical here, but just you really want to have like the most control over the ball as you can, because you have so many elements that can affect it. So you want to like really tell the ball where to go. Like if you're setting it, like you have to put it into the ball in a sense and try and guide it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, a lot more elements, no doubt. What is, I guess you could say, this is what I always want to know about beach volleyball. How do you prevent getting sunburnt? Because you're out there for hours and hours. I know you put sunscreen, but you know, you're sweating and your sunscreen and it's out there and you don't want it in your eyes. I mean, is there a skill or a technique to prevent sunburn during a tournament?
I mean, honestly, it's kind of inevitable, but aloe vera is your friend. Sweat-proof sunscreen is your friend. Very high SPF is very important. And then also just not being in the sun when you don't have to be, you know, like in between matches, in between points. Like, I don't like wearing a visor, but some girls do. I cannot do it. It gets in my way. It affects my play. If you can, I would recommend that, just not for me. But yeah, some girls at this one tournament I went to in Thailand, it's like super hot, like crazy conditions, and this girl was just sitting outside like sunbathing when she didn't have to be. Like she wasn't playing, she was just watching other people. And I was like, I don't know, that's not very smart. And then lo and behold, the next day she gets heat stroke, and she has to go to the hospital. So just like really taking care of your fluids, drinking a lot of water, reapplying. I know you said like it comes off, like the sunscreen will come off, so reapplying when you can, and taking care of the controllables kind of thing. Like you can control how much sunscreen you put on, you can control how much water you drink, and how much nutrients you get. Yeah.
Great tips. Next time I'm on the beach playing volleyball, I will follow them. Okay. The last thing I want to do is play a very brief game. This game is called Give Me a Name. Okay. So I'm just going to say something, and I want you to give me a name of a person or a place that comes to mind when I say this.
Okay. Like that everybody would know.
Or what comes to your mind.
Okay.
And then I may ask you, what is that? But just throw that out. Okay. Singer.
Drake.
Mentor.
My coaches. Or my sister.
Ooh, she'll like that. Volleyball player.
Yes. Sorry.
That's the next one.
Player. I thought you were asking if my sister was a volleyball player. Volleyball player, my sister.
Okay. What's your sister's name, by the way?
Emma.
Emma?
Yeah.
Superhero.
Thor.
Ooh. Is it because of the hair or the hammer?
The abs.
Forgot about that one. Clothing?
H&M or Zara.
Ooh. Food?
Sushi.
Oh, you've acclimated to Hawaii well. Tech item.
Phone.
Place to go in Hawaii.
North Shore.
Where to eat.
Cafe Kayla.
All right. Teammate most hilarious.
Amber, even though she's not on the team anymore, but she's really funny. Or Hallie.
Okay. Teammate most nerdy.
Hallie.
Teammate that is the strongest.
Brooke.
Brooke. And that's your teammate, right? Brooke Van Sickle?
Yeah. She's my partner, yeah.
Well, hey, thank you so much for being a part of Fan Friday Talk Story. Good luck to you guys going into the rest of the season, and we hope to see you in the NCAA tournament again.
Nice. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.